So in terms of US elections, Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
We know who's gonna take. Okay, not who's gonna take.
Who do you, if you
I can't
If you
be.
were to-
If I was a citizen,
Yeah.
I can't be for sleep. I can't go for sleep. I can't go for that. I can't.
Why
vote.
not Sleepy Joe?
Why him?
how can you anger someone and tell them how to be angry at you?
Oh, so
This is my question. I'm not saying what Israel is doing is right. I don't stand by it.
Okay.
But I'm asking, like, how can I, like, do something wrong to you and dictate how you can react?
Welcome to the Uncut with X. Today I'm with Bryson, and if I'm with Bryson, we're going to talk about geopolitics.
Yeah.
And on the other side, although not visible, is Leonie. So we're going to talk about different things, but starting off, we'll revisit the episode we had with Bryson about the Houthis on the Red Sea. So what's your take? What has changed from where we last reviewed it at?
What has really greatly changed is my health first.
Okay.
Last time I was a little bit down, but I think this time I'm good.
Yeah,
and
I
we
can
are
see
set to
you're good.
go.
Yeah.
I can
Yeah. So last time, where did you leave it at?
So we were talking about the Houthis and how they are still sort of in conflict with the US and the other European countries. And the effect of it will affect Europe, because most of the cargo that passes there goes to Europe. And I wanted you to explain, how is the progress so far? Is it passable? Are the ships still passing there, or is it hard for them to pass through there?
Yeah, actually, you see, our boys there, the Houthis, they've really gone haywire at first. And the measures that the US and the allies are trying to implement, it seems not to be working, and impractical, and at the same time expensive.
Okay.
Because we see that they're using multi-million maybe artilleries or equipment against cheap drones or some things of those sorts.
Yeah.
And currently, as you're speaking, you find that the Red Sea around the Gulf, Aden, that place, it's impossible for specific. It's specific ships, merchant ships. So the Houthis, they've continued their attacks. Recently, they attacked is it a US? No, it's a British-owned ship that was passing through there, and it has been grounded. Actually, that ship, it was attacked so badly to the point that the crew was not hurt, and the ship has been abandoned. And currently, it has been anchored. According to reports, is that the ship has been anchored, but you find that it is slowly sinking. So eventually, the ship together, it's a fertilizer ship. The ship together with its fertilizers, it will sink probably.
Also, it's a cargo ship that was passing through that.
I think it was going to Bahrain or something of that sort. If I'm not sure, I'm not sure it was going to. But what we know is that it passed through there around the Gulf of Aden area. So they used their, and actually you see the artilleries or the weapons that they used to attack it is we call it a ballistic anti-ship missile.
Yeah.
And you see the Houthis are the first group in the history of the world maybe to use a ballistic anti-ship missile on merchant ships.
Yeah.
It's a type of sophisticated weapon that it has caught people by surprise that these people are owning these kind of artilleries. But it is not it's not a surprise because who are backing them up?
So last time you've talked about backing. Last time you said that they weren't backed.
No, I didn't say they weren't. I said we're not sure.
You said we are not sure, but are you sure that they're backed by Iran?
Absence of evidence is not evidence of absence.
Because one thing is, the Americans think that
they're getting their weapons from Iran,
of which I think they are getting their weapons from Iran. So after,
I think it was confirmed.
It was confirmed.
Yeah.
They confirmed the involvement of Iran even started during the Israel war.
Wow. Okay.
They speculated those countries are
they have
funding the Houthis and Hamas.
Hamas.
Because me, I was saying that my issue was actually the weapons they're using is Iran made, or they come from Iran, but that does not necessarily mean they're being supported. Because to me, it was that these guys are purchasing these weapons, and the only place they can purchase their weapons is from Iran. So,
But do you think the Houthi is more of a terror group?
it's a political movement, according to them.
But to us, is it
But
more of a terror group? Because the
it's
activities
a
they are
political
doing,
movement. You see, like I'll say this an example. Let's use North Korea.
okay,
It's a government. They have the North Korean government led by Kim Jong Un.
yeah,
And some of the things that they do, you find that they do have counterfeit dollars.
okay,
They do involve themselves into some
Scams.
scams, mainly scams. So you will not call them terrorists. You'll just call them the North Korean government is involving itself in some terrorist activities.
okay.
So according to me, the political movement of the Houthis are involving themselves in some terror activities.
I think they're more of a terror group. Or Leonie,
Okay.
you have something to say about it?
I wouldn't classify them as terrorists as well. I think because what's their agenda? I don't feel like their agenda. You know, terrorists is like they thrive in causing confusion.
Yeah, sure.
And hurting. But I don't think that's their aim necessarily.
Actually,
I think
actually,
they just want
yeah,
to cause
true.
disruption, and they've taken advantage of what's going on. Like,
Yeah, because they have a goal. One of the goals is they want the Hamas Israel war to come to an
Come
end.
to an end,
Yeah.
yeah?
So it is if they were terrorists, maybe if they were involving themselves in some pirates activity or piracy.
yeah, they would manifest differently.
Yeah.
I think it's more of pirates activities because they are attacking shipped on by companies.
See, if it was piracy, you see, being a pirate, or if whatever they were doing was considered as maybe pirates or whatever things, they could be, their main intention is stealing.
Yeah.
But these guys are just, they want to run aground the ship.
Yeah.
And
They just
maybe
want to destroy,
they
because
want to
you see,
destroy.
like the ship is
Run aground or
sinking
it's sinking.
with whatever cargo it has. They didn't take it.
They never took, yeah.
They don't have interest in that. They just want to show. I don't know. I think like they want to show that. I don't want to say power, but like they want to show like we can do something.
Yeah, sure.
Or
About it.
am I just a cry for attention? Like we are here. Hey.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they've really gotten it. If
Yeah,
it's a
they've
cry
gotten
for
attention
attention,
they
because
wanted.
the Red Sea right now, it's impassable to the US, to the UK, and maybe some other, and Israel. So they've really achieved their goal as of now, but the long-term goal, they haven't achieved it. So bringing that particular war into an end, I think it's kind of, I don't know how it will be brought, because it's kind of difficult or challenging.
The Houthi US war.
The Houthi, and the world, or the Houthi and the US and Israel, because
I also have a question. How do they think by starting some other kind of like
conflict.
Yeah, conflict is stopping the Hamas.
Okay, the way, but you see, okay,
It's a weird way of trying to stop war because normally,
do you know of that saying? I said it the last time that the only way to stop a war is to start a war. Okay, if there's a conflict somewhere, let's say there are bandits or rebels in a certain areas, they are really causing chaos in that particular place. For you to stop them, before going into the negotiation table, you'll bring in your troops and you'll engage yourself in some war. So whatever these people are trying to do, they're bringing war into this other side. So they're shifting attention. They're creating many points of attention whereby these people cannot just focus on one thing. They have to.
I understand what you're saying, but like, isn't that just removing attention from another war? Like, for example, like the Hamas-Israel war didn't stop the Ukraine-Russia war from continuing. It's still continuing.
Sure.
For all we know, like, I just feel like I don't know what the aim was, because I'm not so conversant with that. But like, I feel like I don't know if they want to take attention from what's happening there to like redirect efforts and like
Yeah, you see, by me classifying it as a political movement, they're politicians. And these people, we know how politicians usually work. They are showcasing that this is our goal, but they have another goal behind. So apart from stopping the war in Israel, they also have their self-interest, because this is a group that wants to take over Yemen.
Don't
they
you
have
think
been in
that goal is now just creating war against the US? Because for me, I see it as Iran using them as a proxy to fight their enemies, because they can't do it directly.
yeah, but
And
everyone
I
is
feel
using
also it's
everyone
like
is
a way
using
of reducing the fans' attention,
Yeah.
from Ukraine, meaning from
Israel and
Israel
Hamas.
Hamas to because US can't not that it can't, but it's like difficult to concentrate in to put
In many
similar
ways.
effort in two different wars or two different conflicts.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I feel it's more like of taking the attention away from what is happening
Yeah.
there and resources to some degree to like redirect, so that I guess they feel like that will give Hamas a standing
Yeah.
chance
Oh.
or like a chance somehow
Yeah.
to because they'll have less resources will be handed over to Israel,
Israel, yeah,
to
by the
like
US.
fight Hamas.
Yeah.
Because actually how I see this particular war, the Houthis being brought into the picture, it's like the power balance is disadvantaged to the US and its sides, because if it was maybe the Hamas war alone,
Yeah.
they could have managed it by supplying the
Weaponry.
weapons. Yeah.
Yeah.
But right now, since the Houthis have come into place, you see now
They have to stop
they are,
giving
yeah.
guns to Israel and conceding.
And actually, speaking of stopping, you find that there's an embargo which has been created by, I think it's the UN, but the UN. There's an embargo created that the US should stop supplying munitions to Israel. I don't know if they will, but
But I do also feel like US likes including itself in like
A lot of things.
Yeah.
that they. I'm not saying that they shouldn't help when they
Yeah.
see there's a problem somehow, but I feel like they've given themselves this authority to
it's in we call it self-interest.
it is self-interest, but I feel like they're involved in every single. I know it's self-interest because
Yeah.
if they don't have self-interest, they don't normally
Actually,
involve themselves.
and in fact, if they don't have self-interest, you won't know that there's a war going somewhere. You won't know that there's a war in Mozambique. The Tigray war, you will not know. The Sudan, you won't know about it. So it's where they have lots of interest in Israel than any other country.
Most of the time, it's usually when they have
yeah, when they have interest
is where you hear about it. So we also talked about the South Africa taking Israel to court. So the lawsuit was suing them for genocide,
yeah.
of which we agreed that both of us agreed that what Israel is doing is more of genocide. And I wanted us to talk about what is happening right now, because
was the ruling made?
the ruling has it been made? Okay.
It was made. I think it was thrown out.
It was thrown. Yeah, it was thrown out, but they left some few recommendations to Israel, which Israel is not obeying. And I remember we had earlier on talked about how people just disobey the ICJ and get away with it.
But also, I do have something controversial to say.
Okay.
I hope it doesn't get me into trouble.
I love controversy.
Okay.
How can you anger someone and tell them how to be angry at you?
Oh, so
It's my question. I'm not saying what Israel is doing is right. I don't stand by it.
Okay.
But I'm asking, how can I do something wrong to you and dictate how you can react? Because I feel like many
just say
countries that are related to terrorism. I'm not okay. I don't know a better way to say it. If I'm wrong, please correct.
Okay.
Just
but
put it out.
I feel many countries are condemning Israel because the countries making the mistakes are not used to countries retaliating in that way, in that strong way, quote unquote, to what they do. For example, like the way the Al-Shabaab assailants normally come from Somalia. Yes, we did do action by going there, but it was controlled. I don't think probably we did do maybe one or two wrongs, but I'm saying, I feel Israel is being condemned, which is not wrong, but how do you do something bad to someone and regulate how they?
So in short,
who is retaliating to who?
Because they say it was whatever
October 7th.
October 7th, yeah.
Exactly. Hamas was the one that initiated. They were at a standstill, right? It was quiet until that happened. And then no, it wasn't really quiet, but things had died down. We can agree on that. Like it was shaky.
In short, they had a ceasefire
Yeah, they
for
had
that
a
period.
ceasefire for us. Yeah, they did have a
No,
ceasefire.
they didn't have.
I think they did.
They didn't. Actually, okay.
No one
If
was
you
attacking each
say,
other.
yeah, that
I
does not.
think, like,
No one was
Israel hadn't
attacking.
gone to, like-
You see, like, okay, if you say no one was attacking each other and
No,
we did
that's
not
not
have
what
an agreement, they didn't have an agreement. As
They
far as
didn't.
They didn't have an
But in
agreement,
terms of
but no one was
attacks,
going to
yeah.
the other person's country.
Okay.
Like Israel was not like, even if they were there, they were not actively attacking.
that is what is being said by, okay, if you say like that, I wanted to say at first, I wanted to stop you maybe and say that's the mainstream media what is feeding us. But you do you know that, when the war started, right?
It's been there for like
Around
a long
1950s,
time.
yeah, when the Israelites were brought into that place.
Yeah.
The history goes that no, they were not supposed to be here. Other people will date it back to 2000 years ago. So these people have had constant conflict, and now brought into recent years,
Yeah.
Israel has been more of attacking Palestine or Hamas. When you go back to 2008, 2007, we go back into, I think, was it 2015, something of that. Now Israel has been occupying land
Yeah,
in this side. So these people, they have been oppressed. And you see, it's like the government, when the government imposes tax, imposes measures, the people will go into a revolution as a way of retaliating what you people have been doing to us. So, okay, if you say that these people are bringing these wars as a way of dictating these other people,
Yeah.
me, I usually try to distance myself and say, if that's a family, when you see brothers fighting, you keep out. That's
Yeah,
a
'cause that's an
family
internal thing.
affairs.
Exactly. That's my standard.
Leave
But
it.
I'm more like, I know the history, though not so well. Cause like, yeah.
You think they had it coming when they did the
I don't
October 7th attack?
exactly after that. I'm talking exclusively about that event. I'm not talking about what happened before
Oh,
and
okay.
what they
If
did
you-
or what not. I'm talking about like what they were. They went and killed. Is it 1,200 people?
Yeah.
Now,
Women
how
and
will
children.
you dictate how Israel comes back at you?
It's
I know we are all
That
governed
I
by
know,
international laws and all that, but like when even I do something wrong to you, I can't tell you I know I've done wrong to you, but I also require that even if you get angry, you can't do like you get angry within this boundaries.
You see, whatever you say, it has reminded me of something.
Okay.
You see, when World War II was when the Nazi regime was at the peak of losing the war, there was a time that the Allies brought in. It is the first time that the Allies bombed the Nazi regime. They went into Germany itself. I think, was it Warsaw or something? No, not Warsaw, also in Poland. There's a particular place that they went and bombed, and they really threw their lots of those cluster and whatever the bombs, and they killed so many people. Germany was not ready for that. And you see, there's a certain person in the Nazi regime. I don't know who was him to Hitler. I've forgotten his name, but it was like the Nazi propaganda machine. His main work was just to ensure that propaganda is working well. So what he did, around, it was an estimate, according to the police at that time, 25,000 people were killed that night. But what he did, he added 10 to that number. So it is 250,000. Now the cries went out, even though Germany is the aggressor, why should you kill 250,000 people in their place? So now I think the Brits were responsible for that attack.
Okay.
So the global community now began condemning these guys and what. So I think this is the same strategy that has been imposed by the Hamas groups or Hamas leaders.
So they're exaggerating whatever.
No, they're not exaggerating. For the attacks, they want to claim, it's like you went to, the way you just said that you went and beat someone. You knew that when you go and fight or when you jump this particular person, he might retaliate and also beat you up. So it seems like now the way Israel retaliated, it was far much worse than what they expected it will be. Now they begin to cry that, you're doing too much, you're doing this. Even though it is too much, though.
It is too much.
It's
I'm not saying
genocide.
It's not.
But yeah.
I wouldn't classify. Maybe I don't know.
You don't
You
classify
don't-
it as
You
don't
don't
classify it as
justify genocide.
I'm not justifying, and I'm not for it. I don't. I want to clearly state I am not for what Israel is doing. But like, when you do something to someone, like make sure you're ready for what that person might do back. Might do to you.
Bryson, do you classify Hamas as a terrorist group?
It's not a political movement to me.
Or it's a terrorist group?
It's a rebel. They're rebel groups.
Okay.
Because you find that they haven't taken over the government. They are being backed by other. I think they're being backed. According to the saying, is that Iran is the devil here.
Yeah.
So we think that they're being backed by Iran or maybe the Hezbollah.
So like it's more like of a
But they did take over the government.
They did take over the government.
Yeah, they did take over the government.
Then there are
and they are currently running that. If Palestine is
But
a country,
we have a Palestinian government and a
we do
Palestinian president.
have the legitimate one,
Okay,
but
yeah,
Hamas.
what is happening in Congo, for example.
Exactly, you have a legitimate
okay.
one.
You do have a government, but it's
Not all that of a government.
Understand.
Most of the leaders are not in Palestine. They are in the West, enjoying having the best time of their lives.
But that's a normal day. That's a normal day in the Middle East.
And that's a normal day in the Middle
It's
East.
like a normal day in the Middle East. Most these countries,
that's why
Yemen.
I really respect the Ukrainian government, because he was offered to be flown out and was like, no, I'm dying with my people.
Or the
No, he
president.
was not. No, that was not. Okay, that's what he said. But do you think he can really die with these? Okay, let's be honest.
Obviously,
Yeah.
he'll be
There's
more
a political.
protected. Yeah, and obviously
There's a
he's still
political
more,
agenda
But I
for
still
it.
respect that he's an ongoing war and he's inside. I'm not saying necessarily he's going to the trenches and like using the guns and like on the ground, but I'm saying he's still in Ukraine.
Because Russia has not been a threat to him personally, where he is, because Russia has been focusing in only some allocated place. Yeah, that's what they want. So they're not like greedy to want to take over the whole of Ukraine.
The reason why I'm saying whether you categorize Hamas as a terrorist group is, if we as a country, now I'm speaking Kenya, if we as a country were attacked by Somaliland, Somali to some extent would not dictate how we attacked them.
Yeah,
Sure.
And as a sovereign country, we must show our muscles as a country.
We have our own policies on retaliating. And,
exactly, which are might be totally different from what the international laws might want us to do. So Israel is in that position where they were attacked by this group that runs this place. Most of the people who are political analysts say that the Palestinians themselves, if they had an election, they would elect Hamas. So this is what they would elect even if war was to end. And now as Israel, they must show their muscles.
And I do like what you use
How-
to show
how-
muscle, because if they don't do that too, remember they're also surrounded by other Islamic states. If they don't show their muscles, if they don't show how strong they are, don't you think that they stand chances of being attacked by some other person? Because they're like, if they did.
So you commit genocide.
Saying they commit genocide.
Now how they do it.
I just
I'm
throwing
saying
it out.
that maybe they're doing it a little bit too strongly. But
Yeah,
they're not making the wrong decision. They're just executing it in a
Bad way. That's where I disagree. Showing muscle is not a bad thing as a sovereign country, but now the way they're doing it is where I disagree. If they were attacking Hamas directly,
But actually, what I'm seeing
would
on the
be
other
okay.
hand of Israel, you'll hear the stories where they particularly attacking Gaza Strip.
Yeah.
So it's like, let's say they're attacking Mombasa,
okay,
where these people are. It's the same way Russia. What Russia is doing.
yeah,
They're attacking this. Only they're not attacking. What's the capital of Ukraine? Let's choose a random. Maybe let me pick against Koshoknovia. I don't know if something.
yeah.
I don't know if it exists, but they're not attacking that they're only attacking that place, for example. Yeah, they're not attacking the capital.
As to why they're saying they have tunnels that lead directly into their country. At first, they were saying they want to take over
Actually,
the tunnels.
sure, but they as it is of right now, you find that. Oh,
It's okay.
It's okay. You find that no, Hamas, they really do have the tunnels, and it is one of the most complex tunnel system in the world. So if they want to take it, tunnels, you won't take it using airstrikes.
Yeah.
Maybe if you want to use Nova gases or any other type of gas to smoke them out, or waters, they say that they are pumping in water from the sea into.
The problem is you can't do that and you don't know what's inside. And I'm also assuming that these tunnels, even above ground, they're being they're being guarded.
The
Yeah.
tunnels.
Yeah, you can't just say that.
So
because
they're
they're
actually
telling
using
that
the same
on
strategies the Nazis used. That's why most people, when referencing Israel, they compare it to what happened with the Nazis.
Yeah.
So the places they used to hide is where hospitals are, where there are children homes, schools. They pick places where they know it will be hard for you to attack them.
And actually, you won't hear. I've never, according to the reports, I've never heard that the Israel saying, if it is there, I don't know, but I've never heard the Israelites saying that we've killed 20 Hamas, or the lead. If maybe the leader of Hamas was killed, I don't know, but you won't hear them saying we have killed this particular number of Hamas leaders or Hamas militants.
So the thing is,
they're just bombing indiscriminate.
How will you know
the
who's
thing
Hamas?
is, they give the numbers of the number of Hamas they have killed, but they don't give the number of the Palestine civilians they have killed. And the question
But how-
they're asked is, how did you know how many Hamas you killed and
How many?
civilians you didn't kill?
Not unless they killed them in combat. That's the
and it's not combat.
In this case,
yeah. Even though they are actively involving into combat actions, but maybe those numbers you can't say they used combat, because when in combat, if you see in combat, we will say that they are greatly disadvantaged. The Hamas are winning in combat, but in airstrikes, Israel is ahead.
Once you already hide within civilians, it becomes really hard to like differentiate. Because even if I have a gun and maybe I'm removing it and you're not looking, and then when you're looking up, I just go back and blend. It becomes really tough for like Israel to distinguish these ones and Hamas.
And Hamas are really using that to their great advantage.
So it becomes really hard.
Using
so
human
it becomes
shield. Yeah.
easier for Israel. It's a wrong route, but it's becoming easier for Israel to like wipe out everyone. Because like, how do you now differentiate? You can't go. And going from maybe door to door and things like that becomes really risky for them.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we were also going to talk about elections. So a lot of elections are happening in 2024.
Yeah, actually,
There's
many countries
the
are.
Russian election. There's US, of which we'll talk about broadly, and how it's affected by the Israel-Hamas war. So in terms of US elections, Donald Trump or Joe Biden?
We know who's gonna take. Okay, not who's gonna take.
Who do you? If you
I can't
If you
be.
were to-
If I was a citizen,
Yeah.
I can't be for sleepy, man. I can't go for sleepy. I can't go for that. I can't.
Why
vote
not
him.
Sleepy Joe?
Why him? Why should we vote for him?
Okay.
Okay, according to what I know, I'm not a citizen of the US, but according to what I see, what I know, what
Okay.
I've heard, he hasn't done. It's like he has done nothing.
Yeah.
Okay, because compared to what Trump did, really did a lot in US, and this guy is like he just came to destroy what Trump did. Trump stopped the Afghan war, and this guy is like starting other wars.
Yeah.
They want to send their troops because currently, as we have spoken about the Yemen issue, sooner or later troops are going to land in that place.
Yeah.
Because it's like maybe the absolute medicine for these guys. So maybe, yeah, even though it's Trump, but let's see if he'll make it to the ballot.
Leon, why not Sleepy Joe?
Mine as well. Like I feel Trump has better international relations skills, if I may call them that. Because like I've had like, for example, the Russian-Ukraine war was like, it's been something looming. It's not something
since long ago.
But by Trump's power, or what he claims, is that he was able to like negotiate with Putin, and like, I feel like you can coexist. I feel like you guys can stay together without like conflict. You see, that was one. Two, Biden started this Hamas thing. Three, and he removed his troops from Afghanistan without a plan, without a solid plan. Like, who am I leaving this to? And what, the same question that is being raised right now about Israel, what happens after the war?
Yeah.
He didn't put that into consideration. That's another thing. Joe didn't put that into consideration. He removed people from Afghanistan.
No, it's Trump. Trump is the one who signed that law that we are ending the Afghan war, but the troops were being removed during Joe's time.
Okay.
Actually, Biden had not even gotten into power. It was not, what do we call it?
I think
The thing
he
that
was
we do
in
in
power.
February.
Okay.
He was elected around December,
he
around
was
November, but that thing,
president-elect.
he was president-elect,
But
but
not in
he
power.
wasn't sworn in yet.
Oh, okay.
So
I didn't know
that,
that, but
yeah.
like I feel okay, as you have said, like now there's the Yemen thing, there's the
But just on that your point, maybe I'll say, you see, according to analysts, according to those people, they were saying it was more expensive to remove these equipments from Afghanistan than to leave them there. It's like you want to transport this cap from here to another place. It will be easier for you going without this cap and purchasing it there than you coming for it and going with it. Because the things that they left there, maybe if we speak of the helicopters and maybe you find that they were de-armed, or is that the correct term? They
but not all of them were de-armed,
disarmed actually. Yeah.
because immediately after US left Afghanistan, Taliban were posting pictures and videos of them flying their planes.
Yeah,
and
flying. Okay, disarming and making it, rendering it unusable is true. Because disarming, they remove those maybe those
but
guns
they also
and
showed
those
like warehouses full of weapons
they left.
bullets.
that they left.
Okay, there are certain weapons that they left.
Yeah.
They could not carry them.
Okay,
But
yeah.
those crucial ones, they really went to them. But the APCs, they left them
You
there.
know, this is
And
taxpayers' money. I feel like they're still not. If I'm not saying that it will be
For me, it's not even about the money. It's more of
because they've left it to.
they've
whose
left it
hands
to a
they've left it
legitimate
to.
government. The Taliban. State
Like, girls are
Taliban.
not going back, like, girls are not going to school. I don't
Yeah.
think.
Okay.
No.
It's okay. One thing I
I
know.
think they didn't think it through.
How could have they done it?
It's
To
been
them,
like,
it was let's say it was expensive. If they said it was expensive to move them out, or you see, most things with these wars is that we don't care about how you feel, how you think. We only care about what you want.
Yeah.
If it will be expensive for us, we are leaving it. Whether you take it or not, that's what you want to do. So unfortunately, it sounds that rude.
Yeah, sadly, one of the reasons why Biden is losing in the polls, I saw it was the Israel war. So it's
Yeah.
most of the people who voted, the young population who were who voted for Biden last time, are choosing not to vote for him this time because of the Israel-Hamas or Israel-Palestine conflict that's going on. They feel like he would have done something
Something
better than just funding Israel directly.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Actually, you see, what really brought Trump out during that time, Biden was really speaking of COVID-19, how
Yeah.
Trump handled COVID-19, of which maybe he handled it in a bad way, but he was right in his own way, but maybe the handling. Now, according to Biden, you see what Trump said before the Hamas war started, Trump used to bank on the Ukrainian war.
Yeah.
Right now, I know he will take the Israeli war, and the the Houthis war, I know he'll also take onto it. So how this guy is handling these wars is, he's not doing it in the appropriate manner.
Proper manner, yeah.
And actually, and also another thing is his ability to lead. People really, his mental health, or it's like he's incapable. The guy Trump will make a joke of him, how he'll walk into a wall.
What about this Indian guy? Is it Vivek?
Vivek,
What's your take on him?
Vivek stepped out.
Yeah, he
and
did, yeah.
And he, how do you call that thing? He's for Trump. How do you call it?
He is supporting Trump, or
He's supporting Trump.
backing him more.
He's
Backing
yes.
Trump. And what do you think about him?
He's a good guy who has gained popularity all of a sudden.
Yeah.
He's a guy who
because of his controversial views.
yes, he has been he has created controversy, even though not those big controversy.
Yeah, they're big. He said he'll close down every three-letter firm in the US, FBI, CIA. He said he'll close them down.
But you see, those are things that those guys want to hear.
Not really. They feared. I listened to him speak the other
If you
day.
go
It
if
was
you
more
go
like
if you go to a black person, he'll really love that idea.
He'll love it, but I'm saying also, imagine today if I say I'll close down the Kenya police without giving an alternative. Okay, even if I'm giving an alternative, you'll be like, still, I know the Kenyan police is corrupt or it's not nice, but like closing the whole of it, like what happens? What's next? Like,
Okay, it's
there's a lot of like there was a lot of like it was shocking.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. I get your point. Yeah, the way he spoke of those things, he spoke of maybe the borders as well.
borders,
But
yeah.
you see, with them, they are looking at, let's say, for example, here in Kenya,
Yeah.
we had the Reke company, we had the flying
Flying
squad,
squad, yeah.
we have the GOC unit. Now, it was said that we are closing down the Reke company, we are we are disbanding the flying squad, because you see, that's just the same thing he wants to do. Like the CIA, we have the police, we have this particular arm. They have, so their system is kind of complex. They have, yeah, but now doing away with this does not mean that he has tampered with how the government or the systems will work.
But something like the FBI definitely tampers with how things work. Because
Yeah.
FBI is the one that doesn't have jurisdiction. See, they have like police
CIA, they
units
don't
for
have
police.
jurisdiction
They
as
also
well.
don't have
yeah.
Interpol,
jurisdiction, yeah.
okay.
And he's threatening to close them down. Like,
So yeah.
it's-
But do you think he has a future in US politics?
I think he does.
Yeah. And
That's actually controversy is what will make you. Controversy is what made Trump the president.
yeah.
Yeah. So those controversies, what I can say, people will want to hear those such
Controversial
things. Yeah,
things, yeah.
controversial things, because Biden is kind of conservative. He's conserving his words or how he's speaking, something of that sort. So yeah, he has a future, according to me.
yeah, we'll live to see if he does. Do you think he'll be Trump's VP?
He might not be.
I heard that he said, from where I listened to him in the Flagrant podcast, I think, I don't know, yeah, I think that's the name. And he said that, okay, I hope I'm not misquoting him.
Okay.
He said that if it reaches that point, because he feels like Trump is the one, his views and Trump's views, like,
They are
and
concurrently.
yeah. So he said if the chance arises, he will take it.
Yeah, if given the opportunity,
Yeah,
he will.
take it.
Even though I don't know, that now depends on who Trump will pick. Even though, according to how we see, is the relations with him and Trump, they're kind of good or strong. So he might or might not pick him.
Because I think both of them would want to have a colored VP.
Yeah.
Both of them. Same thing that we had in Kenya, where everyone wanted a Kikuyu deputy president to boost you up, because the colored are now more of the minorities. But when you collect them all, they're more of majorities, more than the whites. So having them on your side,
You'll want their votes as well.
you'll want their votes as well, and everyone wants their votes currently. So
Yeah, so he might pick him.
yeah, he might pick him. We're also going to talk about the European farmers' strike that's happening across Europe, happening in France, Germany, Spain, if I'm not wrong. It's happening in a lot of countries in Europe. And
over 10 countries.
Over 10 countries. And what's causing it is majorly the EU, more of the EU policies on climate change.
Yeah, I saw it's those tough regulations.
Yeah.
Other things are also taxes.
Yeah, also taxes.
Yeah, such things. They're really they're some of the major factors causing
And
that.
they also had this to reduce the to do away with the money they were giving as subsidy in terms of farming. So their aim is mostly to kill this industry for the bigger picture of making climate change work. And which begs the question: do you think we really need the climate change in this current,
Climate change? Okay, climate change. It's also another controversial issue, but as many people will put it, as I personally, my view, it's that we are dealing with a hoax, and to me, I consider climate change as being largely being a hoax. Yeah, you'll hear Trump. I don't know, was it Trump who said these things, that they said that the world will be inhabitable in 1980? It never happened.
Yeah,
in
it never
2012, such things. So, in other words, I'm not saying that we should not conserve our climate.
Yeah.
There are things which is just basic common knowledge. Don't spill oil. Don't do this. But some other regulations, I think, they really not. We really don't need to have them.
Yeah, it seems like they have hidden agendas behind them, and you might think that they look really nice, all this climate change, but there's just hidden agendas over them. Do you support EVs, for example?
Electric vehicles.
Yeah, moving from the normal diesel petrol to EVs.
I'm not speaking of supporting. When I'm supporting, I'm not against fuel.
Okay.
So don't because if okay, how I look into things is if this will make my life better than this,
Yeah.
I'll pick this. I'll pick the one which will make my life kind of better.
Do you think EVs will make life better?
According to how it is, it sounds cheaper
Okay.
than
But
than
it
petrol.
will ruin the environment in the long run. Not now. You might not feel the effect now. Because have you heard about how hard it is to like get rid of the lithium battery?
It is difficult, and that's why they're developing the static. It's called static old battery. There's another form, even though it is kind of expensive to bring it into use. So they're finding ways.
That EV is not expensive because you also buy it really expensive.
As of now, it's cheap. But okay, if you're saying that EV will destroy the climate, okay, as in let's put it. Okay, not you, but let's do, if you say that these vehicles will destroy the environment, are the fuel doing any better?
No, they aren't.
Yeah, they are not doing so.
Wait.
Okay.
But do you think they should force it down our throats to just
They shouldn't.
accept EVs?
They shouldn't force. Yeah.
Yeah, it should be more of a choice to pick if you want an EV or not. Because most people prefer diesel.
Yeah. Okay.
vehicle.
Actually, personally, I'll prefer diesel over an electric vehicle. But in terms of cost, the electric vehicle is cost efficient.
Yeah.
Some electric
It's
vehicle.
not applicable in places like Kenya.
No, it is. If you find an electric vehicle going for 600, like is it called the?
Talking about how long.
Listen first. If you find there's this company in China, it's better. I remember
told me
telling
about
you
it,
it's
yeah.
better than Tesla, like in the number of sales. Something of that. Yeah, BYD. BYD. It's better, according to me. It's better than Tesla. It's just that they don't have global popularity, but the being in China and many people in China are using it. Many people are using it. So you find that if it goes for 670 miles for a single charge, that's a long distance. 670 miles. That's over 1,000 kilometers. So if you find your vehicle going for 1,000 kilometers without a charge, it's just the same way. You won't go with the V8 1,000 kilometers without refueling.
Yeah.
The only difference is that for you to refuel a V8, it will take you less than 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And you recharging your vehicle, it might take you 45 minutes.
Now that's the problem. Who wants to wait for 45 minutes to recharge?
Okay. Actually, that's a problem we're having right now. But with the technology, it's an advancement. We usually start from EVs is a new, according to us, we consider it as a new concept.
Yeah.
So it's a baby taking baby steps. Each day growing, and it will reach a time maybe it will only take, you'll just be going at this station, maybe exchanging your battery, or maybe just 1 minute and your battery is full.
Yeah, that might work at some point. So I feel like we as humans, it's normal to fight change.
Yeah,
but
sure.
At some point, EVs will take over. And what do you think? Do you think the Middle East will be powerful as it is because they are dependent on oil?
Okay, so what I had these thoughts at some time.
Yeah.
We know in EVs the most important component is the lithium, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same way in the current vehicles, in the fossil vehicles, it's the fossil fuel that's most important, even in companies.
Yeah.
So, and you find that there are certain economies that they have backed their currencies in fuel, in oil.
Yeah.
And now with the introduction of the lithium, just like long ago, we had people, if you wanted to hitch a ride, you'll call the horse guy.
Yeah.
The guy with the horse. Now the vehicles came in and the people with horses began complaining. The same way to computers, the typewriters, they began complaining. So why don't you just adapt yourself? If you are an oil producing company or a country, look for lithium and begin producing lithium in large quantities.
Can you really like outphase, like not outphase, but like can you really completely remove the relevance of like fuel or oil in like production systems and like doing business, running countries and all that? Can you really entirely remove oil from the equation?
Anything can be done, yes. At long run, it will. Salt was in the BC. Salt was used to pay people's salary. Right now, salt is nothing. So if the gold was the main currency, right now we're only using it as a reserve. So oil, even though it is that powerful,
I'm not
it will.
using all that,
Yeah,
but that goes back to the farmer's story. Like, I think that's among the
But-
regulations. Something about
which one?
diesel fuel, something.
if it,
Yeah, that's also one of the regulations because they're currently using diesel
tractors, yeah. So we don't have these. We don't have EV tractors. Yeah, sure. If they're introduced and they're cheap, I know one thing I know is that they will be cheaper than
the fuel ones.
yeah, and if they are efficient, because at the start of the EVs, the way people used to consider them, no, you cannot go anywhere with the EVs. It
I
is
remember
weaker,
that.
yeah. But right now, EVs are really proving. If you will see, like, let's say at Cybertruck or Tesla Model
But
3,
I also read from somewhere that like all the apparently even during purchase of like EVs, there are subsidies by the government because like they're trying to encourage people to like buy EVs, which are going to be like removed soon. Because like I feel they've already, I feel they feel that they've already, it's been advertised enough. People already, you've also heard of companies that are now from a certain year, is it 2030 or 2035, they'll stop production of fuel-driven cars. Most cars that are being produced in Europe are said by 2035, I think, or 35,
something like that.
that that they'll stop producing fuel-driven cars. Like, yeah, I think that was it.
Most, another thing. Okay, this it's like an irony to the European countries. Do you know they are among the countries in the world that they really produce low. They don't really produce fuel.
Oh,
Yeah, they rely on other countries like Germany, France. Those countries, they rely on other countries on fuel. So maybe it's just it's an
it's an
agenda
agenda
they
because it will
have.
be beneficial for them
Yeah, for them it's beneficial. I can say something of that sort because if you see where this climate thing is being really pushed is in the European countries.
Yeah, mostly in the European
Yeah.
countries.
Mostly it's in the European countries. So one of the agenda is that.
Well, climate change is true. I feel like they also have many hidden agendas, just as Sylvia said, like many hidden agendas behind them pushing the climate thing. It could be. I feel it's true to some degree, but yeah, there's a lot being
True in
hidden
nature.
behind it. Like even in Kenya, the things are not the same.
Okay,
We
you
hear
see.
of Mount Kenya, the cap
Yeah.
already doesn't have
So
snow.
okay. I'll say this: if you see, if the moment you say climate, I remember in standard 5, we were taught that definition
Yeah.
of climate, it changes after maybe a period of 235, 25, those long period. So this is just a change that we knew it will come.
Yeah.
And we need to human beings are the most adaptable creatures.
I agree, and I don't think they're against it because of how I think it's coming faster than they anticipated is the problem.
But
Yeah.
they it is a mistake they did. Okay, if you see, not we. Okay, me, I'm an African, and if they say that we should stop burning fossil, it's because on their side they're experiencing extreme heat, and research is saying that the fuel that they have been using, we Africans, we've burnt low fuel compared to what they've been burning. So they want to impose it on us. We let us use our skies. Let us also reach a level so that.
It's affecting all of us. Like, did you?
But
see
it is
how
much
what
of
it was in Nairobi like last week.
No, that is just maybe a change in the tide of the sea waves.
Yeah.
But the sea waves tide.
Can you check if it's recording? I don't think so.
Yes.
It still is.
Oh, awesome. Okay. Cut 3 parts and so.
So I think climate, maybe the thing we experience of a short duration will just come to our normal cold, and furthermore, January to March. It's always a hot period in Kenya. So we're back into the cold season. But generally, the Europeans, people from China, those countries that they experienced industrialization before we even had our independence, they've really messed their climate.
Yeah. What about the strikes? Talking about the farmer strike in Europe, have you seen the strike in France?
Yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, it's quite a good one compared to what the rest are doing. And France,
Wait,
that
it's the one that they're even putting like
What?
pieces and waste.
Yeah, they're pouring waste, building walls on roads,
Yeah.
constructing walls, and just blocking the roads
Blocking
with
the major
hundreds
roads.
and thousands of tractors.
Tractors.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
So,
quite impressive.
cool,
But
man.
that's good. Like what we
Now you see, the difference. If you have money,
yeah,
your
like
protest
your
is,
way of protesting
way
is
you don't
different.
have to
Yeah,
throw
it's
stones to the
very
police.
different.
But
You
in
just put your car there, other people put
Yeah.
their cars there,
Yeah.
and let the police face the struggles. You go home.
But in our case, most people complain the middle class don't go out to
Yeah, the middle
protest.
and the high.
The middle and the high don't go out to protest.
Yeah,
It's mostly the people lower
but
middle or
uh,
the other ones.
But if you have places to be and things to do, you go to the roads.
yeah, you will. You compared to.
No, I'm talking about the mentality behind
Oh,
it.
okay.
I'm not saying like personally.
But
I would think, but
what do the middle class do here in Kenya? This is the
these
most
are like
disturbing
the
class
police,
in our economy. The police is not a middle class.
True. Okay, let me change my
Police.
statement. I'm sorry. Like I
People
think
work in the okay. Let me not say
I
that
think
sector.
parastatals are middle class.
People work there. Yeah, people work.
Parastatals are
There they are middle class. Yeah.
People work in sectors like even the pharmaceutical sectors,
yeah.
the banking industry, and all those.
All the middle
Yeah,
class.
especially
You won't
people
see a
work in
marker
the.
on the
But you
road.
will find Kenyan police being middle class
Yeah,
because
because of what
Those people
they
don't
do.
have money.
Wait.
they do.
They do have
You
money.
remember
Trust
there's
me.
a time they were doing auditing in most police officers. Do you know most of them surpassed the 500? At that time, it was a 500,000 limit. Most of them surpass it per day
Or most have property they can't account where they got them
from here.
because
Okay.
the salary is really
But
big.
that's the case with everyone.
Yeah, almost
That's the
everyone in
case
Kenya.
with everyone. Okay, then that means as a Kenyan, you need not to account for your income. As in, you need to be corrupt. Maybe it's an unwritten law, but
It's more
okay.
like I think you can't survive with one source of income. You have to like have multiple, not necessarily all legal. That's another case.
Yeah.
But like you have to have multiple income streams.
Yeah, sure. So that you find that speaking of protest, by the way, speaking of that Nini, of that protest, do you think those protests are working in countries like France and all those?
They are currently sort of working because the EU's parliament is thinking of ways to now
Remediate.
whatever they did. So the protests are working because I had the small scale farmers are the ones that are mostly protesting, and they make up a third of the world food supply. So
Yeah,
if
sure.
they
Europe,
continue,
they're really doing great
so if
work in
they
agriculture.
continue with the strike, it may affect the food supply globally.
Actually, I saw that article that their protests, it's affecting the whole, especially us in Africa.
Yeah.
We are really being affected because, Africa, we are always affected in every angle, whatever. Even if
I don't like that. We were affected with the Ukrainian war. we're
even
being
Iraq,
affected
when
with the
Iraq
Israel war.
begins war with Jordan, we'll still be affected.
Yeah.
So we most of our foods, because you see we import rice, we import wheat, especially wheat. Because wheat is like a staple food in the life of a normal
why
human being in the world currently.
Yeah.
So you find that, and most of the wheats we get it from maybe Russia, Ukraine, and those European countries. So by the farmers protesting, it means there will be a shortage in those supply, and also pork. Yeah, we import from those countries.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so them protesting, they're bringing to a halt the whole agriculture industry.
Yeah, so
And
I think that this has been an interesting conversation. Yeah, so we